I'm the FanFiction Critic, and this is what you do with a BA in English. Say, does anybody know what time it is?
Heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight time. Out of the mist your voice is calling.
That's right, it's Twilight time. Meaning it's high time I reviewed some Twilight fanfiction. Today's story is called Not So Sweet Life and is written by Alessandra101. And already I've got a problem with it. It's called Not So Sweet Life. The author has managed to spell sweet the wrong way. Sweet, spelled S-U-I-T-E, means a series of interconnected rooms, like in a hotel. My guess is that this author watches that TV show, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, on the Disney Channel. And she doesn't realize that the title is a pun, because the kids live in a hotel. This story is off to a crappy start, and I haven't even begun it. So let's dive in. Our tale opens at a high school dance in Phoenix, Arizona, where Bella Swan, protagonist of the Twilight books, lives with her mom.
How can high school dances be so boring? I had been here what? I looked down at my watch. 20 minutes. I yawned, bored out of my life.
High school dances suck. And I am such a nonconformist.
Hi, his voice was velvet smooth but smelled of alcohol. He was drunk. I'm Edward Cullen, he said, leaning on the bar. He smiled a sexy smile. I decided not to tell him my real name just in case. You never know what a 17-year-old drunk is going to do.
And Edward Cullen is there. Even though in the books he lives in Forks, Washington, and not in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, the whole point of the Twilight series is that this shy but really pretty girl moves from Arizona to Washington and meets a vampire. Oh, and he sparkles. But, whatever. The point is you can't just screw around with canon like that. Why is he in Phoenix? That's never explained. If Edward lives in Washington and goes to school there, you need a plausible explanation for him showing up at a high school dance in Phoenix, Arizona. Bella gives Edward a false name because you never know what a drunk 17-year-old will do, and continues to judge him for daring to sneak alcohol into the school dance. Although, wait a minute. Didn't she just say that he was leaning against the bar? Yes, Edward's leaning against the bar. There's a bar at this high school? And he had to sneak alcohol in? Oh, that's really weird. But wait a minute. Edward's a vampire. The last time I checked, vampires couldn't drink alcohol. They can only drink blood. And this is even present in the Stephenie Meyer canon, where vampires can sparkle.
Not much, I said, disgusted. I don't know about him, but I was 17 and in my opinion too young for beer. Of course, it's not like everyone followed the rules. He was probably one of those stock-up mama's boy jock.
Consuming alcohol on school property automatically makes you a stock-up mama's boy jock. Bella tries to leave, and Edward's response to this is to drag her into a nearby, conveniently empty classroom and rape her. Thankfully, the author spares us the details of the assault and just cuts to Bella walking home afterwards.
I was walking back home, feeling exposed as to the fact that I was just raped by Edward Cullen. I knew I should press charges, but I couldn't. He was drunk and probably didn't know what he was doing. That and the fact that my friends and I were wearing wigs to support cancer, so he would just say he didn't know me.
Are you insane? Of course you can press charges. He raped you. It doesn't matter if he says he doesn't know you. You've got his DNA evidence. And it also doesn't matter if he was drunk when he did it. Rape is still rape, even if the perpetrator is drunk. How can you be so fucking stupid? And you should have mentioned the wig part sooner, because mentioning it now makes it look like a sloppy afterthought. A very stupid, very sloppy afterthought. Bella doesn't tell her mother that she was raped. Instead, she tells her mom that she wants to move to Forks, Washington and live with her dad, like in the original book. Her mom quickly agrees, and Bella gets ready to go to Washington.
I dropped on my bed. I was going to a whole new school because some idiotic kid decided to rape me. This was not a good thing. Then it hit me. He didn't even use a condom. My hand went to my stomach. If there was a child forming there, it was the child of a rapist. That is definitely not a good thing.
She's acting like being raped isn't a big deal. She's more concerned with her decision to move to Washington than the physical and emotional trauma of being sexually assaulted. Oh, and that clunky foreshadowing about pregnancy? Yeah, there's not much more I can say about it other than the fact that it's clunky and poorly done. So Bella moves to Washington and runs into a familiar face.
Hey, said a familiar voice. Well, one that I didn't want to remember. It can't be him. No, it can't. I flew all the way here to avoid him. I turned around and saw him, the father of my child, walking toward me. My heart stopped beating and my brain told me to run, but my legs would not move out of fear.
At least that's a somewhat realistic reaction. Edward, of course, doesn't recognize Bella as the girl he raped because she was wearing a wig and he was drunk. Bella angrily tells him off and walks away.
I don't need you. I spit on him. I turned around and started to walk away. I didn't need him. He was a loser. That's why he raped me, and that's why I was carrying a child in my still flat stomach.
Yeah, he raped her because he's a loser, not because he's a sexual predator or because he has issues with women. It's because he's a loser. The author also goes out of her way to mention that Bella is still thin even though she's pregnant. She does this throughout the entire story. Bella runs off to the bathroom to cry, and she meets...
I'm Rosalie Hale, said Girl 1. She pointed to Girl 2. And this is Alice Cullen, she said. My heart stopped beating and I turned to stare at Alice with wide eyes. She was his sister. Hello. You okay? Asked Alice, worried. Maybe she was different than her brother. They looked nothing alike. Except maybe both were beautiful.
Even though Edward is a loser rapist, he's still so beautiful. Bella probably vomits due to her morning sickness, grossing Rosalie out to no end.
Alice, come on. My mom died of vomiting. It's a little disgusting to me, she said. So her mom had died. That's sad.
Her mom's dead? That's really sad. How do you die from vomiting? Anyway, Alice and Rosalie ask Bella why she's crying and vomiting in the bathroom, and Bella says that it's because Edward Cullen is bothering her. Because Alice and Rosalie both live with Edward, they start a little bitch session about just how annoying he can be.
He always talks about how he knows he raped a girl and wants to find her and beg for forgiveness, yet try living with that 24/7, said Rosalie, shaking her head softly.
Ugh, it's almost as annoying as when he leaves the toilet seat up and when he tapes over the stuff I've T-bowed. Seriously, are we serious about this? Your brother commits a serious crime and expresses remorse for it, and it annoys you? How come no one in this story takes rape seriously? Bella acts like being raped is a minor inconvenience, and Rosalie and Alice are annoyed by the fact that Edward has admitted to being a rapist. What the fuck is wrong with this picture? Bella joins Alice and Rosalie for lunch, and we're treated to some extremely pointless scenes detailing the cafeteria.
The line wasn't really long, but my stomach was starving. To me, lunch was a heaven. To most girls, though, it was the time of day they were getting fat. I was going to get fat anyway, so it didn't really matter what I ate now. After an eternity of waiting in line and how they looked at all the food I had with disgust and disbelief, we sat at a table together. Alice on my right and Rosalie on my left. That is, of course, until a guy walked toward us. Then he had blonde hair and brown eyes. He could be Rosalie's twin for all I knew. They looked some alike as they were both beautiful.
Skinny pregnant girl eating all the food. What a bitch. And you want to say disgust and disbelief, not disgust and disbelieve. Disbelieve is a verb. And hey, what are all these vampires doing eating people food? The last time I checked, vampires consume blood and only blood. I also love this vague description of Rosalie and her twin brother. They're both beautiful. How are they beautiful? Come on, author, show, don't tell!